Hello, mister.
How are you?
I'm okay, my
I
friend.
wasn't expecting you. This is
It's so
such a
so
coincidence.
incredible. Such a coincidence.
Look, I like the
Your host.
animal here, of
Yeah, I
course.
remember the fantastic music in La Música en la Vida Útil,
Yeah.
the
You
song of the
remember?
horse.
The Song of the Horse by Leo Maslia.
By Leo Maslia.
In fact, two things now that if it's okay to talk about
Of
that.
course, we are free to talk
The
about everything.
author of that music is Leo Maslia, not the author of the lyrics of that song, but the author of the music. And in this film, he plays a piano song because he's a
In the new
marvelous
one.
player. In the new one, in
Arpeggio is one.
Estudio
Estudio
Arpeggiado
Arpeggiado by
Eduardo
Fabiani.
Fabini, which is the composer of the music, incidental music in A Useful Life, in La Vida Útil.
So let's talk a little bit about your film, this new one, which is a little bit different from films that you have done before. There's more money, let's say, to put it in certain ways. But why you have chosen to go on with this kind of exploration is masculinity, which is, I think, is the common thread in all your films, connected with money, particularly with money. And particularly not only with money, with certain moments from Uruguayan history, not only Uruguayan, the Rio, the old Argentinian, Brazil and Uruguay, a period of time which is absolutely important for us.
Yeah. First of all, apart from the fact that making a film requires a skill that it's independent from the amount of money that you're working with, so yeah, it has more production money, but to do my job, I do the same,
The
and
same.
in a way,
That is quite clear.
it's good to have money for films that need those monies because you have more team to be supported by, and that was beautiful in this case. So you arrive to the shooting and you don't have to be thinking about that car that should come, that you talk to the person, or not production or not the telephone of the actor or whatever. So you're just doing your job, which is great, and it's something that in case I continue making films, I would like to repeat it.
Well, you were interested in a character which it's in certain ways the only god it has is the money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure about it if we have to talk about him a lot. I believe that money for him is also a consequence, because I don't think it's the cause of everything for him, even if he talks about money as his goal in life. I think it's the consequence for a lack of another kind of ambitions, for the lack of humanity, for the lack of emotions towards family, friends, kids, or whatever. So what I'm seeing as a character, that what I showed to you, is that, yeah, of course, it's going towards something, but I'm more in touch with what's below there, what's below that, and in my opinion, all those things are much more interesting to me than just the look for money thing that this character appears to have.
There is something in the film which takes place in a specific time of the Latin American South countries, which is the moment where there were military governments around, and you establish in a very intelligent way, the relationship between money, those governments, and the character. Can you go further for why you were interested to show that so precisely in certain ways?
Yeah, two things. First of all, the present of the film, the 1970s, during Uruguayan dictatorship, it was important because this man, it's a well-made man in a way, but he learned during the 50s and the 60s, where there was no dictatorship, and it was the time that he learned maybe a way of moving around into complicated words, even if it was not with dictatorships or with
Yes.
military people. So what I think is that the film shows this particular guy who has this capacity of moving towards the low life, the low world. So and when it's time to talk about the 70s, that this man is grown, it's impossible not to talk about Argentina and Brazil that had the military dictatorship before Uruguay, and of course because Argentina that came in 76 after Uruguay. But this character having that past of having relation with those low-life people and naturally not condemning or judging the place where dirty money could come, it's a particular and very specific and sad moment in life for the people living in those places. But for a man who works with money, selling money, trading with money, it's in a way a place where he can do what he wants, because Uruguay, the film we talk about, it's a small country and it's a place where naturally Argentinian people and Brazilian people would come to hide money that would be impossible to do it in their country. That happened in real history, and even if it's not an economic lesson, our film talks about things that happen, and maybe that's a virtue of the film, or maybe not, but we built a film that could have some things that happen in that
Federico,
particular
there is
moment.
something which is outstanding on the transformation of Mr. Daniel Hendler, who is a very well-known actor in Latin American cinema, in Argentina and Uruguay, sometimes Spain. And you have some way, there is something in the mise-en-scène that you have thought about the behavior, the physical behavior, the way that he looks like. So can you talk a little bit about
Yes,
that?
I can. Handler is one of my best friends since 80. Daniel Handler is one of my best friends, so I know a lot of his details, not only in his performances in film and theater. I'm more in film because lately I haven't seen him a lot in theater, but I know him very well. So I knew what I didn't want in this film. So we built expressions, face, things, looks, and ways of being. I wanted I wanted him to be all the time. Let's put a superficial word, stressed, to put it in a way, but just the expression, meaning that something was working inside his mind. But yeah, there was a big work in terms of expression and in terms of his movement, on his physicality too. And it all started too with that idea of changing him and being more close to the character I wanted him to be. And I put some teeth, not real teeth, but teeth. So that changed him,
His face
and his voice, and I wanted him to have more a voice like that, more dramatic voice, let's say, and also that made him to walk in a particular way, and as we were saying before,
The body language is something absolutely conceived in the whole film. Like it's not something by chance.
Yeah.
Something has been worked.
Yeah, it is, and that's part of working with a wonderful actor like Daniel. It's not what the director just tells him, but also how his body interprets or receives what I tell him, and what we believe it has to be the character, and it's a character that it's also building itself towards the movie is going on, and I like that, to be as audience, to be open to know new things about that character that could give more clues to who this person is, which is part of the film. You know, the film talks about how I became the man I became today, and it's all the narration of what that happened.
Mr. Veiroj, thank you so much for this.
No, it's okay, Mr. Langlois.